All right, welcome everyone. This is Viper Professional Training Support webinar. Today's date is Monday. This is April 24th, 2017, and this is a Monday evening webinar. And the title of tonight's webinar is Retrace and Minor Breakout Trades That Work. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we're going to go ahead and get started. By the way, does everybody use your Lightning, to look at a chart? Let me show you something here. I went ahead and used the background on my gold chart here. Now, I don't trade in the middle of the night, so this is more fair to kind of go over the trade setups and things like that. Let's see. On OT, the drop down, I want either bar close or PM1, and I select one and find out I picked the wrong one. It's hard to use it when the market is moving. It depends on which one you want, obviously. Mindy, on your question there, we'll use that quite a bit tonight and see if, you can kind of choose which way. I'll do one chart one way and one chart another way. How's that? Okay, but look at this chart right here to give an example. Now, you've heard that old saying that, when you're trading and you get up, for instance, let's say that I was up at midnight, okay? Now, for one thing, I can clearly see that I've had some pretty good moves already, right? Okay, now notice how if you use the little background or just count your swings, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, that's 3 complete legs of a move. And a good rule of thumb is you want to be really careful when they get 3 good, legs of a move, that you could actually, be ready to go the other direction a lot of times too. Okay, and you can even start using like your Fibonacci's to give an example. If this actually was to, do any kind of heading down at all, I would kind of expect it to hit its head at 38 and also at 50, something like that, from that big move, wouldn't you? I mean, it might go even lower, or it might go to 61% for all we know. We'll go ahead and mark on the chart and see if this thing actually does, or we keep going up. Okay, so I've got it marked on where my fibs are. And notice how that one's really close to this support to begin with, so that's good. This is close to this support, so that's good. Okay, now what I personally like to do, if I get up and I see something like this going on, I don't know if this is going to go up or if it's going to roll over. Okay, so you could do this little bit right here, right? Or you could use the power meter and simply turn it on. Now it's already green, so it's not going to go a green trade until it gets a thrust, a pullback, and turns that red. We all know that, right? Okay, and then always draw your Lightning 3, or at least draw it in your mind. I mean your Lightning 1, pardon me, because I like to see where the swings are. I was showing somebody today that I was helping earlier, Pat, and we were looking at these Lightning swings in real time and happened to nail, 2 very decent little trades, and didn't even feel any heat on the one at all that I remember. But anyway, for instance, this is actually, has been heading down. Now it's starting to head back up, right? A little bit anyway. But where's your Lightning swing on what we call just the normal 4-range micro swings? Well, it's right under here, isn't it? It's like this, pretty much like that. So that's why we box in at the midband too, because, for instance, if this was to start heading up, I might get up here to the top, and if it starts heading down, I might get here, here, or even here. or even lower. We don't know. We could even go lower, right? Okay. Now let's see. You have Lightning 3 background on. Yes. Yeah, I went ahead and put that on, Brian, just to show people. You can see it by simply drawing Lightning anyway. You know, without that background on there, you can see you had a thrust, a retrace. Okay. Notice that there's no, and you got to look at the numbers. See the numbers? Numbers. So it's got a thrust, retrace. Do you see any numbers here? No. This doesn't count because it's already had a top. So it's got to come all the way up here. So you've got a thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. That's how it draws that. Okay. So it's looking at those lightning swings. And if you draw them on there, you'll see them. I'll go ahead and redraw them. See there? So you have a high, a low, definitely a higher high. See how it skips these little swings here? The reason is because when we redid lightning last time, we don't let it just draw back and forth. We actually want it to take out the previous swing before it ever draws a number. But if that swing doesn't make a top type number, it won't draw it. Okay, so this literally went, you know, from here all the way to here before you actually got this number drawing somewhere down in here. And then of course this number drew, see this number right here, and then it thrust up again. So you basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 1, 2, 3 legs. And a good rule of thumb, you don't usually get much more than that. Okay. Now there's days, of course, that when it's really, really trending, you may get 7 legs. But as a rule, just normal trading, you can usually count on, you know, 3 good thrusts and you're going to retrace. Okay. Now we don't know for sure it's going to do it, but that's a good rule of thumb. Why wouldn't those 2 not have made a numbered swing? Diane, on your question, because this is actually looking at 15 swing strength. So when this actually came up here like this and pulled back like this, this isn't 15 swing strength. But now this made a low number, but see, it never made a high number here. This made a low number here, but it didn't really make another high number here. So you have a high number here and a high number here, and then a low number here, and then a high number up here. And that's the way that draws that. Okay? Because we've got our Lightning 3 set on swing strength of 15. Okay? And like I said, there's a little algorithm built into that too that kind of tells it, you know, where basically the point of no return is, you know, so that it knows it's going to draw the swing. Okay? And of course, 15 bars on a 4-range chart, if they were to go straight up, that'd be 60 ticks, right? Well, most of your thrusts, have you ever noticed that most thrusts are around 30 ticks? 30 to 40 ticks lots of times. You know, for instance, when this one broke up from here to here, what is that? 30 ticks, just right at it. And this one here is probably 30. This one here is a little bit more. Okay? You know, you can't just bank on that. That's why we use lightning to get out of the trade. You remember when I got out of oil earlier today, quite a bit earlier than Charles did, because he was using, you know, more the mid-band to get out of his runner. Well, when lightning starts going the other way, a lot of times, you know, when you break micro swings, you usually go up and check secondary or medium swings. And so when I see lightning break like that, I'm just pretty sure that it's going to take me out anyway. Yeah, it needs to be a minimum, Diane, of 15 bars. But see, it doesn't technically have to be the full 15. But what it's looking at is the strength of those. You know, for instance, right here, you did have, when this actually came down like here, right here, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that knew that that was past the point of return. And it drew that number there probably when this bar formed here, or maybe this bar here. Okay, because it's actually got a little algorithm built into it so that it knows, you know, that once it gets like say to 10 or out of 15, it's obviously not going to be able to, you know, return and you know, you can usually count on that swing being right. Okay, I hope that's not confusing on that. All right, let's go ahead and go to 2 charts. And a lot of people do like to use a little bit larger chart. Now, I purposely chose this in the middle of the night. See your little thrust, retrace thrust? You know, basically your lightning is right here, same place as here on this chart. Okay? So if this was to break below here, like so, more than likely it would head down. Okay? Now, you got to swing over here on this side, like so, and it's already tested it. Okay? So you want to see if we can get that trade? We'll get it one way or the other. How's that? I'll go ahead and put Object Trader on this chart also. And I've got my Object Trader set at 10 max contracts. Okay? Be sure if you don't want your set at that, don't leave it at 10, because if you get some kind of a situation where the market, you know, sends orders to your broker before Object Trader knows they're there, you know, in that split nanosecond type deal, you know, you could actually get more than one contract in certain instances. So, you know, if you wanted that set for like 3, be sure and set it for 3 or 2 or whatever. Okay, I'll leave this at 10. The reason for that is because I do like to add on bar closes a lot of times when I see a thrust happening, and you can make some serious coin on that if you do. Okay, so we're going to go 5, 6, 8, and then a runner for 20. And we'll go ahead and save this as our default. And we'll put it on this one too. Let me just take this one off. Since we saved that as default, this will remember that. Okay, so we got 5, 6, 8, and 20. Okay? All right, so we know that we're already power metered at green, so we can't do anything except box this in. But see your swing right over here to the left? I wouldn't personally want that until it takes that out. See what I mean? Because it's already tested this swing here. Hadn't tested this one yet. It came up really close and did a little wick, but it hasn't really taken it out. So I would probably box this something like this for right now. Although on this chart with the bigger bars, this one here you could actually even, you know, if this decides to do lightning up to lightning down, you could actually use PM meter and even short it. But if it goes above the line, I'd probably click market order. You know, if, for instance, if this isn't through, okay? And this one over here, since we know that we're in this big old range right here, I don't like a box like this, but you could set your box something like this. And that's actually called a breakout trade. Now, I'm not real hot on breakout trades because you got to be real careful getting in them, because a lot of times they'll just pop it right up and then pull right back into your box. And that's a pretty good sized box. That's 13 ticks. You usually want your boxes to be, I think, somewhere around 8 ticks myself, because it gives you that more sideways, really tight consolidation. Okay, let's just try it. We're not going to load the boat on this one just in case. Let's just go 2 on each, and we'll go long above if it breaks, and we'll go short below if it goes down, so we're good. I think I'll do a, since these are such large bars, I'll do a touch plus like 3. Just in case that it decides to pop up above here, right? Y'all think on that? You could also look, where did it do its little wick, thrust, retrace, like on the 4 range. You could actually bring your box up a little higher, because if it takes out that swing, it'll probably, let's see if we can get it up there. More like that little swing right. It's not cooperating. Let me get this over out of the way. It's not cooperating. That's actually going on something else. I'll have to go on this side to do it. See if we're on it. Not quite right there. That's that little swing that's over on this side. Okay, so let's see if we can break and head up or if we're going to actually head down. And we'll go ahead and turn it on. Now, I like a little PM trade, by the way. If you take a PM trade and you start getting some coin, to give an example, just don't let them take it back. Because, see, this is actually still a green background. But if I turn on this short PM meter, maybe it'll get down to here and give me, 5 or 6 ticks because we've got 2 contracts selected. Okay, let's see what we get. I'll do it on about 10 times, see if we get something. Let's see, sure bet you asked, how do you turn on and off the painting of the price at the swings? Oh, you know how to do that, right? Yeah, you don't have to have those on there. Those are in the parameters on the indicators. Okay, let's see here. Now, where would this actually change to lightning down in this case if we had a high here, a low here, and a lower high and it took this out? That would be a very, what I would consider to be a pretty no-brainer trade because it would be starting to stair step back down, at least for a scalp anyway. So let's turn on our PM meter. Now I want to show you the difference. If this happens to break out, of where you'd have to put your stop. That's the one thing I don't like about breakout trades. Because everybody knows if this was to break down below this 76.20, I'd have to put my stop just above that little swing right there if it breaks down at all. If it shoots up through, then we'll put our stop just at mid-band because it's right here where these bars are. It's really slow, isn't it? I was going to show you oil, but remember how my charts were messed up today? I totally reinstalled Ninja completely, and it's still giving me that same screwy-looking chart. When do the prices paint, MG, on your question? Well, they basically paint when it figures out where that swing is. And like I said, that little algorithm's built into it. Okay, now we're actually trying to take out this swing. Will we? Okay, if this does a little PM, we'll see if it does. It would actually be right under here right now, but if this bar closed up, you could actually get even a little bit lower, a little bit higher, pardon me. It looks like resistance held. These predictors are pretty good, by the way, at telling you where a trade's going to hit its head. Now that should actually change to a red PM if that closes below that line. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 if it closes below it. There you go. You're in it. Okay. Now, what you could do in a case like this, obviously, is take your third one and use it as your runner. Okay. Now, see it hitting resistance right here? This is what we were talking about on resistance, and it's coming up a little higher. It's no big deal because we got our stop in. See if we can get our quick little scalp. What is the background of a predictor? What did it look for and find to then paint? Well, sure bet on your question there, the predictors are actually reading all this price action that's on this chart, and it's looking at that price action to see where to draw these. For instance, if you draw this right across here right now, you can pretty much see, looking to the left to trade the right, that's more than likely either a fib or, see how it's just like a little swing, thrust, retrace, right there on top of that. Now this doesn't mean it'll stop here and not give us still a short, because we're short on this, okay, with what we call PM. Now notice we got a breakout trade over here and we got both targets. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, this is another breakout trade right here, by the way. And if it breaks down below there, I would expect it to go like down to here, or even phantom, right? So we're going to watch and see. I wish this would actually do it on separate accounts, but replay is replay. Because what I wanted to show you is how more to see where the breakout trade's not quite as good of a trade. This little PM trade was pretty good, wasn't it? Now also, wasn't this also a good way to do it too? Just draw your trend line and see that pretty much broke below that, felt a little heat, and then down it went. Just got all your targets. Now, real quick, I'm going to slow this down a little bit because tonight's webinar is about retracements. Okay, so let's look and see, where do you think this would retrace to? Let's look at the big chart for just a minute. Let's just see here. First off, let's check our fibs and see where we're at. Went right through to a 38%. Looks like it went through it, so I think they're going to go to a 50. We're not in it right now, right? But more than likely, it'll give us another opportunity. Let's see if we can get another one. See if we can get a green power meter. Where do you think this would more than likely hit its head for a quick scalp? I'm going to get rid of these lines here. They're not really as important. Right up here, right? Yeah, look. 75.10 area. There's your 50. It's heading down even further. While I was talking, we lost our runner, but that's okay. You have to either get rid of your target on your runner, or you take a chance of it getting hit. And we had our runner at 20, so it got hit. But since we're not breakout traders, although I might probably take a break of this right here though, like that, see it breaking that little swing. Now that's a riskier trade, but the way this was breaking down and we know where our lines are, that's not a bad little trade. See there? Okay, let's see if we can figure out right where our swing is, and let's see if we can get another trade. There's mid-band right there, and that happens to be right with the swing. Everybody sees that, right? Let's see if we can get a retrace trade. By the way, could we actually do a long, like to say maybe just get 5, 6, or 8 ticks if this turns green? Because it's a lightning swing that it'll have to take out, right? So in other words, it would take that out. Green, there you go. Feeling a little bit of heat. And I'd put my stop just right under there. It looks like it may hit all 3 targets to begin with. All right, now where's our next trade on this chart though? We've already got it charted, right? This is called retrace trades. When they break micro, they'll go up and check medium, okay? And we want it to actually go ahead and go up to mid-band because that's where our swing's at. And it may take out our runner, we'll find out. I'd probably go to break even as soon as this bar closes. We forgot to turn on our break even. Well, we got taken out, no big deal. All right, so let's see if we can get in again. Let's look at our larger chart. I'll get rid of anything on here. Let's see if we can figure out where our retracement should be on this chart. Clearly, thrust, retrace, that's your swing, right? Look how that's right there at mid-band. If that gets up to that line, could we just see about taking a trade? Let's see if we can get one. Now this is actually called retracement type trading, and you know, you can tell that drop straight down from there, right? So if they hit that line, you know, I could actually put a pretty tight stop on it like that. See, I'm sold already. See, it hit my swing. That's also mid-band. I drew it on my chart. I knew where it would be. This one's also here. So we could actually go ahead and click that chart also, right? And then let's see if we don't get taken out, hopefully. And I would probably put my stop just above this swing. See it right there? Just right above it, like so. And see if we get we only have 2 contracts, so we're only shooting for 5 and 6. That's $110. And this one we're shooting for 5, 6, and 8 because we only did 3 contracts. And we'll put our stop tight right there. With no, well, you could actually use exit on close. I kind of like exit on close myself. You know, it does a pretty good job. Okay, now looking at this chart, we're rolling over at mid-band just like we thought, right? Okay, and you got your targets already. You haven't gotten it on this chart just yet. And you may not because you've got a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. So they may go up a little higher. Let's see where our next level of resistance is. Right there at 73.60. And we've also got a swing right here at 74 even. Everybody see that? If you look at your smaller chart, you'll be able to see it also. Let me get some of this junk off the chart. It's kind of hard to see. Let me get rid of that. We'll get rid of this. And we don't care about those lines. And it looks like we're going to get stopped out on this one, so I'm going to put my stop fairly tight. If we don't, we don't. All right, let's look to the left to trade the right. 73.60. If it does come up any higher, and you do have a phantom also, right? You have a nice major swing right up here. If we can draw it. That's a little above phantom, so I like it before phantom. So let's see what our fib is. %50. Let's see if we can get that. All right, so if we get stopped out, we are starting to meander our way up, right? Now, could we actually go ahead and reverse this trade if it does take out this little swing like that? You know, like we box in? The answer is yes. But since it's a red background, I would probably do more of a scalp on it. Not sure if we're going to get our target or get reversed. Now that's a riskier trade because your resistance is right at 73.60, but your 50% retracement is at 74.60. And like I say, this particular trade, if it does, it didn't reverse yet. If it does happen to reverse on it above mid-band, I'd probably protect it pretty quick. So see, we've diagnosed our chart now. We know where our 50% is. We know where our swing is. We know where predictor is. Why would you put your stop at, say, 74.60? Well, I don't think you want to go that high. Because, see, we're trying to scalp this. A little bit of scalp, you know, with that 5, 6, and 8. Still didn't get taken out, though. We're still okay. I'm going to go ahead and draw a trend. I'll try to just get like break even on it, on that target if we don't get taken out. Now that swing is right across here, but now it's the wick here. So you could actually do it more like that if it happens to take that out. And we're still okay. I'm going to go ahead and move it. See if we can get a little bit of tick. See what we get here. Everybody see, though, where you can draw on your charts, though, and definitely look at your fibs, too. You know, because Fibonacci's are pretty good, especially the 50 and the 61. 38 when it's on a big move. But your 50 and your 61 are really, really good. It's going to get our target. We could, if this is going to go ahead and break down, we could go ahead and just move our target out of the way. We're either going to get stopped on our runner, or we'll try to get a actual runner. But I don't like this because it's got a high, low, higher low, and even a higher high here. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change trends, but it does mean that they're doing a pretty good retracing. And when they break micro, they usually go up and at least check medium, which they did, and we got the trade. And if they break this, you're looking for a phantom trade. Do I use the Renko much on trading or more for guidance? Well, you can actually use the Renko for even trading. I find that, like on a predictor, to give an example, they do pretty nicely. I'll show you. See, for instance, right here, this hit this predictor perfectly, so a person could actually be a short, right, which we got just a few minutes ago, except we got it on this predictor. But let's see how the 8 range does. Okay, let's look to the left to trade the right. Draw our fib again. Definitely didn't quite get to 38%. Your 50% is right there. Now, could you have actually been, for instance, on this side of the trade? You could have stayed long. This is actually still getting higher lows and higher highs from your PM trade. Okay. Now, to me, that's not what I consider to be a risky trade, because you were actually doing lightning down, lightning down, lightning down, and then you started stair-stepping up right here when it broke that swing. And you could just put your stop underneath the swing. And each time it made a higher high, you know, put your stop, makes a higher high, put your stop, higher high, put your stop. So you could definitely be long on this instead of short already. You could also see this too. Pretty much broke that trend line right through there. Started heading up. Wow, this is really slow. Now, let's see if we can actually, I'm going to go ahead and just let the chart alone, let it take us out or whatever. I don't care if that's got a power meter green. I'd probably kill that trade. It went red and then back green again. But what I want y'all to do is I want you to tell me where the next trade is. Let's see if we can pick it out. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. I'm going about 20 times. I'll go 10. Okay. Phantom, absolutely. Phantom is a good trade, by the way. I don't know why so many people, you know, basically, to give an example, if you boxed in here and you're trying to go long just Phantom, you might not have much of a trade. But if you had actually gotten in on this trend line break, you would have probably gotten a pretty decent trade. I'll bet they take us out of this. They're still getting higher lows. A predictor, absolutely. And if you don't touch predictor, don't take the trade. Because those predictors are trying their best to figure out all this mess that's going on right now, all this choppy sideways stuff. And let's see, if we get taken out, we'll go back in, but we'll go in at an actual predictor. And let's watch and see if we get any kind of retracement. And we could still head down. We've still got our target way down out of the way. No, they're going to take it out. See that, where that bounced off that low? Now, could we go ahead and reverse this? If I did, I'd probably go for like 5 ticks. All 3 contracts. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, and I'm going to put a pretty tight stop like right there. That'd be 8 ticks. Just in case. That's like boxing it in at the open, isn't it? But that was 2 o'clock in the morning. Still a box though. We just had our stop there. There we go. Now look at this real quick. Where's our predictor now? Anybody? Predictor's right over Phantom, isn't it? It's telling us 1274.50. So what I'm going to do, and this could be a runaway train. We don't know yet, right? You can always wait for power meter, or you can just simply hit the sell button when it hits that 50%. That happens to be my predictor and that 50% that we just drew on that huge move down. Got to 74.30. That bar will close up. I'll turn on bar close. Good enough. See it right there, 50%. Now, if you wanted to do, whoop, that's not, I did PM instead. I would have already been short. That's what Diane was talking about right there. If you forget to put it on the right one, you're going to end up messing up on a trade. That's just all there is to it. So what do you end up doing if you do that? Well, let it, well, like power meter, we'd have to put our stop way up here though if that power meter turns red. Power meter would turn red right under there right now. We don't know if that's where it's going to though, because what it's doing a thrust. If it does a little retrace, it might be a little higher. But I wanted it right there on that bar. Everybody see why we wanted that on that bar? That was a no-brainer bar close trade at a 50% retracement. And if it would have just gone on up, you'll occasionally lose on a trade. But, you know, this wasn't a trend change. See where our power meter is. I'm going to see if I can get in a little bit better. Nope, it already power metered. There's a swing right there at 73.70. If it touches it, I'll go ahead and add. I'm going to get my target out of the way because I've only got one target. Forgot to turn those on. If it'll go back up there and touch resistance. Remember, we're talking about retracement trades. Now, there's retracement in longer term moves and there's retracements in shorter term moves. This is a short term move, and this is the way we draw these lines in the room. If this hits its head at 73.70, I'm going to go ahead and click an extra order. Because that's where it hadn't checked yet. It broke down below 73.70. So if it comes back and kisses it, I'll go ahead and add. Because like I said, I want it in right way up here. See how bad of an entry this was instead? Our entry was calculated already, and we should have been in way up here, but we forgot to change this to bar close. It's coming up there. I'll go ahead and take it. Let's see if we can get a couple of targets. All right, let's see. We have leg 1, leg 2, leg 3. So let's diagnose our chart. If this happens to break down, that is. Would it be somewhere around that 66.70 area? And then look to the right and see if that's a swing. Let's see. That's decent enough swing. We'll watch it. That's our target anyway for our longer term runner. Now, let me ask you a quick question. If you miss this trade right here, okay, notice how that came right back to my 73.70 and kind of rolled over. It missed it by a tick. Okay, we drew on our chart. We know where it's going, right? And it may check it twice. A lot of times they do. But we're already in 6, so we're not going to add any to it. See if we can get something here. And what if you, let's say that you don't get up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's just kill this trade. Let's see if everybody in here can figure out the next trade. Okay? Let's go ahead and get rid of all the lines. Okay, we're not in a trade right now. And everybody tell me where you want to get in the next trade. I'll give you a hint. Predictor. And draw on your charts too, because you'll see where predictor should draw. Let's see, we got a swing right across here at 73.80, right? We got a swing right across here that's an a priori swing at 73.50. We don't have a predictor drawing yet, so we're not taking a trade. We don't care if they go ahead and head down. We're not in a trade yet. We're waiting on one. It's right at a predictor again, right? You could have, if you wanted to, take that because it went right down to predictor. There you go. There you go. See it? Predictor is way up there right now. Might draw a lower one. It depends. Didn't get up to that one, did it? That's all the way up here. So we're still not in a trade because we don't have a predictor. Now we could go ahead and turn on our PM just in case we don't get a predictor. And I'll just go with like 2 contracts on a PM. See if we get a predictor. We're either going to come all the way up here, which I don't think so. Because it hit its head right here and rolled over. Could you also be ready for a trendline type trade? I think where a lot of people get hurt in trading is because they jump in and they have a really tight stop, and then you get into this garbagey stuff like this. But wait around and at least get like a PM trade or a little breakout trade. Now that actually broke. Okay, we'll see if there we got 2 targets. Okay, that was a PM trade. All right, let's see if we can get a predictor trade. Look to the left to trade the right. Let's see where it should go. We've got a swing right across here. Check that one already right here. We don't have a predictor yet. See, those predictors are really good for like retracement trades. And remember, if you break micro, you always go up, normally anyway, and check medium. So you'll at least go like to mid-band more than likely. Watch and see where a predictor forms. No predictor yet. See, those predictors form in real time, so it's calculating. There you go. There's your predictor right where I drew my line. How about that? We're going to turn the right one on this time. Now, by the way, the new software, we won't have to turn on bar close to get that. We'll turn on predictor, and it'll take the bar close or a touch. You know, for instance, if I wanted this, if it just touched that line and tipped back the other way by a tick, we'll be able to get that in the near future. Could have gotten a little quick breakout trade when it took out resistance, but we're going to trade only the predictors and good retrace trades. There it is, right at predictor. Let's see if we get it. That's also a swing too, so that's almost a no-brainer trade because that's resistance right there, right? That is, unless it blows up through here and, you know, keeps going, but we're going to have a stop in. Bar closes down, it'll fire. There you go. And by the way, you can always, you know, like I said, take one runner and get it out of the way, look to the left to trade the right. You know, could they come all the way down to 70.50? Well, you could always put it down there, right? And if you wanted to add to this, just like we teach in the webinars, couldn't you actually, if it took out that little swing right there, or this swing right here on lightning, you know, for instance, if I wanted to add, say, when it took out that line, I could do that, put my stop just above. I'd probably still put it above the swing though. Yeah. And we got a target already. Now, when I like the predictors, the absolute most is when they're fib numbers and when they're good swings. Because the problem with any kind of trading, you know, for instance, there's a predictor you got a scalp. There's a predictor you might have gotten a scalp. There's a predictor you got a scalp. There's a predictor you got more than a scalp, and there's one. Okay? But they don't always run. Feeling a little bit of heat, not much. Where do you think we ought to leave that stop, though, everyone? You'd almost have to leave it above that swing, because if it breaks that swing, it's going to head up. Any questions on how to see where these trades are going in real time? Because, you know, for instance, I know that everybody saw we traded gold this morning. It wasn't this time of morning, but we called some really good trades on gold. Called some good ones on CL. It was just a monster today. Russell, it was better than NQ by far. How many of you have troubles at the open? Anybody? Because when they go to that open in the morning, yeah, several people saying me, I do, me. NQ kills me in the morning. The one thing about NQ that you got to really watch, just like Russell even, is when it tends to move fairly quickly, you know, and you're going to find that it does a little bit more of the larger type moves, you know, like your Lightning 3 type moves, to give an example. But when you look at it overall, you'll see that it's, you know, pretty methodical about what it does. I'll show it on the 8-range chart here in a little bit. We'll see if we can look at NQ too, if we get time on the webinar. Now, we're feeling some heat on this one, but you know that you'd have to put your stops above that swing, right? Otherwise, if I was to put it like right here, they'd probably nail me. But this, they shouldn't. See your thrust, your retrace, your thrust. That's an actual lightning swing. So even though it's 10 ticks, I got to trust it. Right? I got to trust it. Let's see what the bigger bars are doing here real quick. You want to do a break, actually a breakout trade? We can do that. You want to draw a box? Let's see, we'll draw a box and we'll do a breakout trade. I don't have to hit enter anymore. I just hit enter on that, but I don't have to. There you go. That's a breakout trade. But where would your stop have to be still? Way up here. Get one target out of the way. Now, what I personally like to do when I'm trading this, and I'll show you here, because as long as you're doing your lightning dance down, when would you want to take this trade off the table? Probably when it does a lightning dance back up, right? So let's turn on our PM, get rid of our target. We got 2 left on, right? And we'll just simply turn on PM. If it turns green, we'll go ahead and take 2 back to the other side, which would mean we would flatten out. Let's see if it does it or we stay in the trade. But we already flattened. Didn't get it moved quick enough. Everybody see that though? How you can see that and how you can do that trade? You want to see if we can take one more? All right. Let's see. If this was to come up to, you've got to swing right here, mid-band. Anytime it breaks micro, you try to go to mid-band. You got to swing right across here though, just below mid-band. So if it gets there, I'll try to do a quick trade for like 5 ticks. See if we can get it. Now, if you're looking at your resistance and you want to try to take a trade and get these quick moves, don't let a bar close even. If there's any way to remove the colored bands on the dynamic trend so we just have mid-band showing, no. That's actually, I could talk to Charles and see, yeah, if we could get that done. We've got a mid-band script, but I don't remember if we put it in your package last time because the dynamic trend was. But there is really one in there that we used to have. I'm trying to remember. It was Object Trader something or other. There's a swing right there too, right? That's where I think it'll hit its head. So I'm going to go ahead. Instead of here at mid-band, it'll be between here and here. If it gets there, I'm going to just simply hit market order. Because it's already broken micro, so it's going to go back and check more of a medium swing now. There we go. See if we can get 5 ticks. Not yet. There you go. Almost, almost. Come on. Well, I hate it when it gets 4. I absolutely hate it when it gets 4. If that breaks that swing right there, we're boxing it in. It just did. See why I boxed that in? That happen, and you know the reason that happens, Mindy, is because so many traders out there are trying to get 5 ticks. That's the problem right there. Okay, let's see here if we can get. I'll try to get 5 again at Phantom. Everybody see why I did that? But then now this is actually breaking more up, so you've got a thrust, retrace, thrust. So we're looking for a long right here, right? So let's see if we can get that. You want to try a feature we added into Object Trader that I don't think everybody knows about? Target 1. I'm going to reverse target at target 1. See if we can get that. I just fired a Phantom because I trust a Phantom trade. Thrust, retrace, draw your lightning. See there? That's where it's coming back to. Or it's going to break up and head on up, right? It looks like it's rolling over. I'm going to reverse that a little bit quicker than when it gets down because it usually misses it by at least a tick or so. This is a feature that we built into Object Trader. I don't know of anybody that uses it, but it reverses at like a target. We had some people ask for that, so we added it in. I don't use it. As a rule, I just look for the swing and then just hit market or wait for a bar to close. You could also even do this. You turn on bar close and wait for it to get down to the line and then turn it on. Let's see, we're almost out of time, aren't we? See if it'll get down there. Almost, almost. There, we got it. Reversed it. See how that reversed that? I may be out of data. Nope, I'm not out of data. See if we can get that. See how it bounced right off of lightning? Can you show the NQ what you were saying about the open? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. See how that just did that trade just beautifully right where I drew my line? Look at that, on the money. Okay. Let's look at NQ. I'll have to fast forward this because basically it was more at the open. Let's change this to NQ, and we'll let it go ahead and change. Slow about changing in. There we go. All right, that's 8:11 in the morning right there, right? That's 8:11. Let's see, 8:15. You can clearly see you had a predictor trade that happened at 8:09, right? A good little predictor trade. Not too bad, right? That little trade pays off. That's what, 6, 7 ticks? That's not bad. Let's see if we can fast forward it, and let's look at the predictors and see how well you might have done this morning. I'll go ahead and fast forward it like 500 times so that we can fill the chart up. Remember that little trade I called in the room this morning? Came right up right to a predictor and bounced up like that. There's your phantom trade right there. Nice little trade to mid-band. There's your open right there. Broke down. That was a pretty whippy little dude this morning, wasn't it? NQ was. So you could shorted that little phantom right there, right underneath the line. Change to the green background, right? This is about 9 o'clock in the morning, right? Let's see if we can get down to a predictor. There's a predictor trade. Going too fast, but right off of mid-band. It's working so far, stopped you out. Got your little scalp is all. Pink background like this, you got another little predictor trade. It was close anyway. I'm not sure if some of you got this in the room this morning, but that did actually. And if you do happen to break that swing, see it's actually heading, couldn't draw it in time because it's going 500 times. But anyway, you can see where you could have shorted it, right? And let's see if we can get a predictor type trade after the room closed. What do you think about that one right there? You want to try it? See if we can get 5 ticks. Let the bar close down and we'll take it. Oops, we're only going to take 5 ticks. Let's just see if we can get 5 ticks. It's right at resistance. Hit right at my line within a tick. See if we can get us a little 5-tick trade. Almost. There you go. Got it. All right, let's try for another 5-tick trade and see if we can get one. We're going to go what? Another predictor? Pardon me. There's your predictor. Little trade right there. It's 5 ticks. Think we can get it? Got it. Breaks that little swing. We'll go ahead and take 5 more. Broke that little swing. See if we can get that. Just like that. Okay. You can even do PM bar close. See that PM meter right there? Let's see if we can get an actual PM meter 2 to change, just for the fun of it. You got your profit on that one. Nope, not yet. 4 ticks again. 4-tick Charlie. See if we can get, for the fun of it, see if we can get 5 ticks on a power meter 2. Maybe, maybe not. That's 2 bars up. See if we can get 2 bars down. Didn't change it yet. I don't like that one particularly, but there you are, you're in it anyway. That's why I don't personally use power meter 2. It's too late. Too late to the gate. Let's do a power meter 1 to the upside then. Let's see if it works. Power meter. Should hit its head on top of this swing. Shouldn't take it out. See if we can get 5 ticks. Got it. Okay. See, it's definitely not a bad way to trade. You know, you really have to learn to see with your third eye, so to speak. You got to see these swings in real time. You know, and if you can't see them, you got to draw them because they're right there on the chart. See how this thrust up and came right back on top of that swing right there? Perfectly. Okay? And that's what you've got to do. You got to be ready for that. Where's this next one coming to? Well, it already did. It looks like it's coming down to there. And I'd probably draw another line just in case, which would be right there. And let's see if we can get one of those just for the fun of it. Got to turn red. We'll try power meter 1, but we'll wait for it to go red. This looks like this might be a trend change. And then I'll wrap in just a second. Hadn't gone red yet. They're a little bit more professional trade when they wander around like a drunk like this. But if you still look, you know, if I look at this chart right here, I see a thrust, retrace, and it's just barely taking this out right now, right? And that really went above that line, so I'd probably already be long on it. See where it just came down and kind of kissed it? Just for a scalp, though. And we got it. Okay? Definitely not a bad way to trade if you just simply watch your charts. And where do you think it'll come back to? If you want to stick around for just another couple of minutes, I can tell you where it's already going to do it because they look to the left to trade the right. So if you were waiting for this trade, all right, let's say that we've missed everything. It's breaking out, okay? it's breaking out a little bit. Well, we might be able to go ahead and get a quick little trade like this and try to get 5 ticks. Let's see if we can. But what I want to show you is that it'll break here and it'll come back and kiss it. See, that was a higher low just then, so we kind of took it on a bar close. But that's not the trade I want to show you. It's probably going to work out. But the one I want to show you is that it'll thrust up above resistance and it'll pull back and kiss it. And watch. See how it did just then? See there? I turned it on 500 times. But see how it thrust up above and pulled right back into my line? So you got to be ready to literally take that trade when it does that. Because that's exactly what it was doing. It was checking, looking to the left, and even looking to this left, and hit it exactly. See that little swing? Thrust, retrace, thrust? Right there on that swing. That's what you're looking for when you're trading, is these pullbacks. And if you look at that little chart that I designed right here that we've shown several times, if this was real time, if this shot up like this, it would more than likely come right back down on top of here within a couple of ticks. And you could draw a little box and be ready for it when it came down, kissed it, and took off. That's what retrace trading is. And you'd see it on this chart, and you'd be able to take a short to get there. See what I mean? Because you got a high, a low, a higher high. If it breaks this swing here or this swing here, it's going down to here. Okay? The old kiss trade. Very nice setup, absolutely. Thanks everyone for coming. We'll do this tomorrow morning in the room, and we'll call the trades as usual. And don't get beat up at the open. Don't let them, you know, sometimes that open, you just want to pull your hair out because, you know, you've already made money on oil, you made money on gold, and then you give 2/3 of it back trading, you know, NQ at the open. If you're going to trade at the open, I would highly recommend, you know, some quick little scalps. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. You can clearly see that if you look at your charts, they'll come right back to where you think they will. And that's usually what just happens continually. Okay? Thanks.